Life is a journey, but what happens when we die? Is it the end, or is it just the beginning? As an atheist, Howard Storm was convinced that death marked the end of consciousness. But then he died and went to hell.
Eternal life with God the Father, Jesus and Mary, the angels, the saints, and our loved ones. It is the heavenly existence most God-fearing people hope to experience, and which some have even claimed to have seen. Eternal damnation in the fiery pit of hell is a concept no one likes to consider. Yet it is a poignantly real nightmare for countless lost souls, those who die in a state of mortal sin, and self-absorbed individuals whose lives here on earth had one common denominator, the complete rejection of God and the denial of His existence. While on earth, they tossed God into the swirling sea of reasoning, a cesspool of ideologies and philosophies that claim man is master of his own fate, that powerful careers and making lots of money are the true measures of success, the formulas for happiness and fulfillment, and that in the end, all that is left, all that really matters, is our portfolio of personal accomplishments, the monuments to our ego. But after death, those human monuments come crashing down. Without God, there is only darkness and the frightening realization that hell truly exists. In the words of Protestant minister Howard Storm, it is the sewer of the universe, a foreboding place where lost souls feed off the pain of others. Storm knows this firsthand. In 1985, this self-proclaimed atheist died, and to his horror found that he had been banished to hell.
Howard, thanks for being with us. We really appreciate this.
Thanks for having me.
I'd like to begin with just the issue of who you were in 1985, because by all measurements, you were an average art professor, probably very good artist.
Thank you.
I've seen your work, so I know that you're a good artist. But you were just the average person out there. You had not, as far as we know, committed any heinous crimes of any sort. Right. And yet, when you die, you're sent to hell. And that could have been anybody out there who was leading a good life. Why? What were you? Who were you?
Well, unfortunately, I say that from my perspective now, we are all sold a bill of goods in this society that, like, being good is good enough. And what we mean by being good is if you don't kick the dog and, you know, aren't too nasty to your wife and kids and pay your taxes and don't break the laws in any conspicuous way, that's good. And being self-centered and manipulative and me first always kind of attitude is encouraged in our society. So I look upon myself then as living the American dream, and I think many people would say I was you know, on the right track. But that's not why we're in this world, and not why we were created, and not what is expected of us to do with our lives. And that's what I learned.
You were self-centered, but you were also so self-centered that you didn't think there was any other force out there that would determine your future, like God. You did not believe in God?
No, sometime when I went to college, I was 17 years old, I just gave up on the whole God thing. And you know, my philosophy professor ridiculed it all as like Sleeping Beauty and Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs and stuff like that. And these are, basically the idea was religion was the opiate of the masses. It was like for addled-brain people that couldn't deal with the harsh reality of existence. And I thought I was way beyond religion into a existential, very materialistic, you know, very hedonistic kind of life, which I think, from my perception, is the prevailing culture of our society.
And you were building your own human legacy, which you thought would help see your name live on forever and ever, long after you were gone to nowhere.
Right.
What were you doing? You were creating works of art?
Well, I was doing painting and sculpture, and I was having my own small success. I was named Sculptor of the Year in the state of Kentucky. That was a biggie for me and stuff like that. You know, sell some work once in a while, win a prize, and you know, that was always that next level you were trying to get to. You know, as soon as you made one level of success, it was like you set your eyes on the next one, always striving, always working to prove, basically, that you were of worth, that you were of value to the world.
But you had some struggles during those times, obviously. Who did you turn to? What did you turn to? I know you had some sort of religion instilled in you when you were younger. You didn't turn back to that at all? You never felt like you should? There was never that gnawing feeling?
No, because as an academic, we all ridiculed those things. So when I'm not proud of this, but who I turned to was alcohol, you know, going out, staying out all night with my friends and going to hip, artsy bars in Cincinnati and being really cool and listening to jazz music and getting intoxicated to the point where you're worried about whether you could make it home or not. I mean, that was my religion. And it's also an anesthetic, because inside of me there was a great emptiness, a great darkness that I couldn't fill with anything.
And you felt that? You felt that void?
And unfortunately there were times when I really thought about killing myself, because it was like, is the pain of being alive, and I'm not talking about an acute pain. This is like the pain is more like a numbness. It's hard to explain. The angst of being alive, is it worth it? You know, wouldn't it be better just to drive the car into a, you know, bridge abutment and put an end to it?
And so in 1985, how old were you? About
38.
38 years old. You're in Paris with your wife on an art convention of sorts.
Right, art tour with a bunch of students.
Right.
I had at 11 o'clock on Saturday morning, I had a whole break in my small stomach, which is the duodenum, and I may have had a ulcerous condition that I was unaware of, or it might have been from a foreign object, like a small shard of glass or something. I don't know, but I was taken to the big city emergency room.
Well, wait a minute. You collapsed on the floor, though, in this.
Oh, yeah.
You're writhing in pain. You're writhing in pain.
Without any exaggeration, it was like being on fire inside.
Like rats were eating you up inside.
Yeah,
it was an acid release that was literally eating your inside?
The things that dissolve your food, the hydrochloric acid and the enzymes and things, were leaking into my abdominal cavity, literally digesting myself on the inside. So it's kind of eating myself up. And it was the most acute pain I'd ever experienced.
And they called an ambulance, and a doctor comes with, diagnoses.
Oh, yeah, they knew exactly what was wrong. Sent me off on this wild ambulance ride through Paris.
With a shot of morphine, only one shot.
Yeah.
Okay.
And as he explained, it was only enough to get me to the hospital, because he said, you're going to have surgery as soon as you get there, and I can't give you any more because it'll interfere with the anesthetic that they're going to administer when you have the surgery. And our understanding then, and in emergency, was this is an extremely grave situation, like having a burst appendix. But if you get right on it and do surgery, 4 weeks, 6 weeks later, you're pretty good shape. 8 to 12 weeks later, and you're good as new, no problem. If you let it go, it's fatal, you know, because of the damage that it does to your insides, which is the infection of peritonitis and the digestive juices messing up your organs. So I was sent from the emergency hospital over to a surgical hospital several blocks away. And unbeknownst to my wife and I, there was no surgeon available at the surgical hospital to do the surgery. So they parked me in a room and left me there for 10 hours. And the doctors in the United States told me that my life expectancy from the beginning of this incident was about 5 hours.